All right, it's Wednesday. We got Luke Close here. I apologize for being late here. I know I went past the scheduled time. Traffic was horrific on the way back from Fort Worth today, so we had that to deal with. But we're here. We're going to talk some college football. It's a shorter show today. We've got to celebrate birthdays. Shout out to my guy Luke Splain, my roommate. He's 25, just like me. We're both halfway to 50, and so let me tell you, once you hit that age threshold, you really feel like an old fuck.
Hey, a quarter to the century mark.
Quarter of a century, halfway to 50, it's body's gonna start aching, man. I don't know. It's just, whatever you do, don't turn 25.
Let's hope I make it there.
Just live to see another day, and I feel like that's the mantra in the SEC right now for a lot of these teams is
absolutely
live to see another day. There's some teams that are in a pretty posh position, I will say. Alabama and Texas A&M are in a pretty posh position, but there's some other schools out there who need every little bit of help that they can get for when it comes to getting into this SEC championship game. There's so many different combinations we can have, but to illustrate, I pulled some numbers from FanDuel leading up to our show today. Do you want to guess the order of the top five as far as favorites to go to Atlanta and win it all are?
I'm going to say Alabama's first.
That's correct.
Going to go with A&M at 2.
That 2 is correct.
Then I'm going to go Ole Miss at 3.
Incorrect.
So I'm going to say at 3 then, they're not going to put Vandy up there, are they?
Don't overthink it. It's not. Don't
okay. Georgia.
Yes.
Georgia, then Ole Miss.
Oh, this one's going to get you. And it's just because of their schedule and how much Vegas likes them.
LSU? No. Couldn't be. No. Texas?
Yep.
Yeah, Texas does have an easy schedule. And then it's got to be Ole Miss 5, right?
Ole Miss is number 5. And to elaborate about Texas, the only reason why they're in the position they're in for the SEC championship is because they only have one SEC loss.
Right.
They have 2 losses on the schedule, but only one is to an SEC team in Florida. And so, Alabama right now, more and more, that Florida State game looks like almost a blessing because not only has it birthed a new team as a result. Like I've never seen a team go through a great awakening like Alabama did week 1. I mean, last time was maybe Ohio State in 2014 by Virginia Tech. That's the last time I can think of something like that. But it's completely reimagined, reawakens this team, and it's an ACC loss, and so it's not an SEC loss. So it doesn't count in these rankings. Texas A&M sits undefeated overall. They haven't lost in the year, which is nuts. Another hot start for Mike Elko's staff, which is great. And then Georgia is where it gets interesting because their only loss is to Alabama. And so that means that Alabama's in the driver's seat. Even if Alabama essentially has to lose 2 games. Two games on the rest of their schedule to not go to Atlanta after losing. And A&M too has to lose 2 games to not go to Atlanta. I'll be honest, I don't see that happening, but I want to hear your thoughts on it.
So for me, I think that like you said, don't overthink it. That win for Georgia last week was huge. Obviously, knocking off Ole Miss for a variety of different reasons. Big in both ways, I think, because Ole Miss, I don't think their schedule is too tough. You still got that Oklahoma game. You still got Mississippi State, which I think is not going to be a rollover for them. I think that maybe a little bit biasly, Alabama will be in Atlanta come December. Simply just because I think that these 4 now let me get through South Carolina first. Take it a week at a time because South Carolina. Shane Beamer said that they're the healthiest they've been in a while. and it's on the road. Now, South Carolina always pulls off some magic against Alabama. But I think overall, that 4-week stretch was really whether or not you were going to see what Alabama was made of. They got through it unscathed. A&M, obviously. We'll see what they do this week. I don't think A&M gets through the schedule unscathed. I think they do suffer a loss coming up, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But I think that A&M, they still have Texas, and they still have LSU, and those are really their big games. I think that they'll be in Atlanta as well. So I think that FanDuel has it right now. I think Georgia will just miss out on it. But I think if you're a Georgia fan, that's not always the worst case scenario. Because I don't think that you're one of the top two teams. I think if you played Ole Miss on a neutral field, you would lose that game.
I agree.
And so I think that while the SEC is crazy and there's the depth of the league is just insane, as you mentioned from the FanDuel odds, I mean, don't count out Vandy getting there. Like, I mean, seriously, like it's there's so many teams that could be there at the end, but I think that right now I'm gonna have to stick to the chalk.
I think that there's a lot that are still technically alive, and Vandy's an interesting situation because I think they can still get in the playoff even if they don't go to Atlanta.
Yeah.
Because you look at it right now, you look at Alabama's schedule, you look at Texas A&M's schedule. I don't see either of them two losing 2 games, and so I really think that that may be the safest conference championship bet out there is
Yeah.
Alabama and Texas A&M. Like
Yeah.
A lot has to happen for that not to be the case. As far as chaos, those two losing 2 games moving forward, I can't picture it. A&M and Alabama have both gotten lucky because a lot of these teams that they have remaining are not as potent as we thought they were going to be. Like
Right.
Looking at it from Alabama's standpoint, I was sweating the South Carolina game, and I still am. I mean, you're still going. It is still Cocktober, and so I'm not overlooking this at all. But this is an LSU team that they'll be playing in Tuscaloosa here in a few weeks that has a lot of flaws, both internal and external, and I think you're going to see that get exposed more and more. Auburn is 0-4 in the SEC. If they lose to Arkansas this weekend, I think any bit of fight that they have is going to be gone. And so even with them going to the Plains, Iceland's a very tough ask of Auburn to come through. And then Oklahoma still getting back from the John Mateer injury. I think it's a thorough team, but I think that there's identifiable weaknesses. That offensive line is not good at all. That running not gotten a snap. And then you look at A&M. I mean, Texas is way below what any of us expected them to be. And then LSU this weekend, and we'll talk about that. But I just don't see it happening. Ole Miss is an interesting spot because they have Oklahoma this weekend, who's right below them.
Yeah.
And as far as favorability goes for FanDuel to go to Atlanta, so they're in an interesting spot. Texas, I think, is the one team that can really shake things up as far as the records go. But I think it will be Alabama and A&M going to Atlanta. And it's not bad news for Georgia. It's not bad news for Ole Miss either because Ohio State didn't make the conference championship last year.
Yeah.
You just got to get hot at the right time. And Georgia's interesting because Georgia has almost lost so many games this year, too.
I know.
Tennessee, they were about to lose that. Right? Ole Miss this past weekend, about to lose that. The Auburn game, they were almost down by 16. It's just, you go back and look, and so I don't know if that means that they just haven't found their fastball yet, which was Ohio State's case last year, or if they don't have one. I'm going to bet on the first that they have it and they just haven't tapped in yet, but we saw it happen against Notre Dame last year too. So it's going to be interesting to find out what Georgia's really made of in December and January.
And I think the big thing for Alabama too is that your toughest 2 games remaining on the schedule in terms of kind of rankings and good teams or whatnot are both at home, which is a huge advantage. I know A&M is on the road for there, so it's a road game in the SEC is a tough ask any weekend. So I could definitely see some shakeup happening, and We could be in a similar scenario if Texas does find a way to go and beat Georgia. We could find ourselves in a similar scenario that we were in last year, where the winner of the game of that game goes to the SEC championship. So that would be an interesting developing storyline.
That could very well be the case. I've thought about that myself. We could literally have the same storyline as last year. Winner plays Alabama like that.
Yeah.
And both of those Texas schools hate us, so it would be it would be riveting in Atlanta nonetheless. But speaking of the SEC here, keeping it in conference, we've got a huge matchup in Nashville this weekend um, between two teams that are very run first. And as far as the SEC goes, they're both fighting for their lives. They both need this game equally for the SEC and playoff placement if they're going to make it. I mean, whoever loses this game is most likely going to miss the playoff.
Yeah.
And so this is a must-win for both of these two. What I compare and contrast here is the defenses. So I think Vandy's is situationally great. I mean, you saw it against LSU, you saw it against Alabama. Like they're opportunistic. They can put teams in uncomfortable situations. They can generate turnovers, but they're not consistent.
Yeah.
Missouri's defensive line, the push you're getting from that, outside of Alabama, I don't know if that's anything like Vanderbilt has seen this year. And
yeah,
I know that they like to run it a lot with Cedric Alexander and even Diego Pavia. But Vanderbilt likes to go off script a lot too. I think that this is very much a defense in Missouri that's going to keep Vandy in check when it comes to that. When you can put Vanderbilt in a box and take Diego Pavia's magic out of the equation, I think that puts you in a very favorable position to control the tempo here. And I think scoring first is big in this game as well. And if Missouri can jump out 7-0 in this thing, I don't think they go down at all the rest of the game. And so that's where I'm feeling with this one. But what are your thoughts?
I'm with you right there too, because Vanderbilt, what they like to do is they kind of like to they kind of have to get into a rhythm. We've seen it a lot where there's little short passes out into the flats, or they'll take what the defense is giving them. They're very patient, but you saw against Alabama when it started, when the pressure started to ramp up a little bit on the defensive side of the ball, you can force them into some bad decisions as well. You can make them uncomfortable just as easy as they can make you uncomfortable. And, Vanderbilt plays with a lot of swagger. Obviously, they've got game day there. Is that the first time game day's ever been there in Nashville? I would assume so, right?
Look it up. I think they had it in 2008, but let me look it up.
Okay. So, so it's going to be a big weekend for Vanderbilt, obviously. But for me, I just think that Missouri has more, what?
Freaking ball knowledge.
2008?
Yes.
I think I think Missouri has more things you can count on. Obviously, Zion Young on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
He's just a one-man wrecking crew. Ahmad Hardy, I know he got boxed up against Alabama, but you saw how Alabama was able to run the ball against Vanderbilt. I think that Missouri's going to find just as easy of a way to run the ball. Talented receivers on the outside. And Missouri's defense they don't sit back. They get after you. So I see. I'm kind of thinking the same thing as you here. I think that Missouri finds a way to make Vanderbilt uncomfortable. I think they take them out of their rhythm, and I think they get a win. I think I'm going to go. I don't expect Vanderbilt to lay down by any means. It's a gritty squad. I'll go Missouri 30, Vanderbilt 20.
Our score prediction is very close. Vandy is -2.5 in this game. And so Vegas likes the Doors. I feel like everybody's behind the Doors right now.
Yeah.
But I'm behind the Missouri Tigers.
Yeah.
I'm taking Missouri as well. I think nobody's expecting it this weekend. I think that they're going to go to Nashville and crash Vanderbilt's party. Very close to your score, 27-23.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's going to be somewhere around there because Missouri, and also, I mean, like Vanderbilt, they're like we said earlier about LSU. That was a big win for them, obviously. But it's not like it's a groundbreaking win for Vanderbilt to beat LSU in Nashville. So I think that the computers are a little bit slow to adapt, as we've seen a couple times this year.
Yeah, and it's the computers have historically always been quick to give up on Missouri. I don't know why.
Yeah.
He was undefeated until mid-October until he lost to a top 5 team, and now all of a sudden the computers are out on Missouri. Like Missouri can't get caught slipping at all, or else
No.
Vegas and the computers and FPI lose all hope. I mean, they are one of those teams like in Arizona State that can literally go from 15 in the nation to unranked just from one loss. Like that's when and I
It's
hate
insane.
that. It's some schools just don't have what. Whereas if you're Alabama, you're Ohio State, you're Notre Dame. I mean, we had an 0-2 Notre Dame sitting in the AP poll this year. Like
Yeah, seriously. I mean, it's like, what are we doing here?
it's mind boggling how it operates sometimes. But what's also mind boggling is that we may have the G5 championship taking place this weekend with South Florida and Memphis because the other two that Boise State's got 2 losses. I don't think you're gonna make it in as a 2-loss G5. I
Yeah.
know Old Dominion is still hanging around.
Navy.
Navy's still hanging around undefeated. North Texas was handed a loss by South Florida. So this is a game where I think if South Florida wins this thing, they've all but sealed it, at least before their conference championship game. But this is a big spot for both of these schools.
Yeah. This is so. I mean, Memphis. I thought that they were really, I mean, in the driver's seat to get this thing done, especially with this game coming up. I just figured that South Florida, they have some turnover problems, and Memphis has been able to generate some turnovers throughout the year. So I just thought that Memphis was a train, just a freight train, speed rolling their way down to a playoff bid, and then Utah or UAB, out of all my hometown team, UAB, with a new head coach right off the firing of Trent Dilfer, beats them 31-24. And I think that might be the most overlooked and most surprising result of last weekend.
Yeah,
And there was a lot of surprising results last weekend, but that one was just insane. And like, I'm happy for the Blazers, obviously, but I mean, Memphis, man, Memphis, they do that every year. You know, they have that one week where they just slip up, and I don't know what it is. They're the same way in basketball as well, where it's like they're in prime position, and then all of a sudden something falls apart to a team that they're not supposed to lose to, and all of a sudden their season's in jeopardy. With USF, but I love Byron Brown. Still not sold on him throwing the ball. Still not sold on him protecting the ball. Um, I love the defense still, even though they got kind of shredded by North Texas. But I'm not putting all my eggs in that basket because I think North Texas has a great. I forget what their coach's name is, but he's a quarterback genius. For me, I like Memphis to bounce back this week and beat USF, and I think that it's going to be a higher scoring game. I'm going to say 34-31. Memphis gets it done.
you're going Memphis.
I am.
I'll be honest. In this spot, I'm going South Florida, and the reason why I'm going South Florida is mainly this. So Memphis is going into this game with uncertainty at the quarterback position.
Yeah.
Their starter Brendan Lewis
Yeah.
sustained an injury in the second half of the UAB game last weekend, so it's either going to be him, and then they're not decided on who the backup would be. So it's either going to be AJ Hill or Arrington Maiden. So that it could be one of 3 guys on Saturday, and that could be an advantage because USF doesn't know who to prepare for. But I don't going into it. It would be one thing if Memphis was playing like Troy this weekend. And I love Troy, love all my Alabama schools, but
Yeah.
times this is this is a big spot here, and so for them to have that uncertainty here, I don't love it, and I also think that South Florida has been great with tempo. They got to keep the turnovers down in this game, but if they go with quick tempo, get Memphis off balance, I think that South Florida can very much control the tempo. That UAB game was insane too. I watched the end of it before Alabama Tennessee came on, and I was very happy for our brethren up in Birmingham. Again, always love seeing Alabama teams represent, and so and also like those galvanized teams the week after firing coach, like you saw with UCLA this year. Now you saw it with UAB.
Yeah.
It's just a psychological thing that happens. The pressure's gone, and so you're out there just playing football. That was a 24.5-point upside, I believe, just like UCLA over Penn State as well. It was a huge point spread upset. But this game, the point spread is USF minus 4.5, and I'm going with another high scoring game, USF 31-20.
Yeah, I love USF. I got family in Tampa. I haven't been to their new stadium yet, but I want to go. But for me, it just seems like they give the ball away too easily, and
Yeah.
and a team that does that and is so far down in the turnover battle. Which I mean, I don't know. Like I'm not saying that like they can't come back from it, because obviously they can, and they generate turnovers on the defensive side of the ball as well. But for me, it's just like a team, and this is going to be a momentum game between these two teams, because I think both these teams can score at will. And I'm going to go with a team that protects the ball a little bit more. So that's where Memphis comes in for me.
That's very fair. I think that both of us have very solid reasonings for the way that we went the way we went, and we're gonna find out early Saturday. This is
Yeah, we are.
so.
This will definitely be on the list of watches for me.
Oh yeah, this is. I'll be glued to my television screen watching this, and
Absolutely.
for all of those out there that say that this is a chalky show, we're all SEC. We just talk G5, so put that in your pipe and smoke it.
Hey, and I would prefer for Memphis to win for my Navy playoff pick, because Louisville looks a lot better now.
I was gonna say you needed something after West Virginia.
Yeah, hey, I'm still confident in them. I don't think they're going to get there this year, but I'm not off the train.
Our frogs right down the street are gonna whip that ass this weekend.
We'll see about that. We'll see about that. My
favorites, which is crazy.
My Mountaineers were gritty.
That would if they pulled that off, it would be very somber here in Fort Worth.
I can't believe TCU's side note. I can't believe they lost to Kansas State, dude.
Don't even get me started. Because I like to pull for TCU a lot because right down the street, represent Fort Worth, and that was
disgraceful.
Off, but then that one, oh my god, that one was a dagger.
That was disgraceful.
That was and a Kansas State team who's ailing, like it just.
Oh yeah, to say the least.
They almost lost to North Dakota.
To say the least, man.
Well, we have one more here, and we're going back to the SEC. We're going back to the chalk. I'm sorry. This is the inflection point for LSU. This is the inflection point for Brian Kelly.
Yep.
Because this is the point in the season where if LSU loses this game at home, I think a lot of the morale is going to leave the building.
I agree.
And that team's going to be a dead man walking. And so LSU's offense, it's been criminally slow this year. It's beyond explanation, beyond film study. I don't get it. The run game has seen some jumps at times, but outside of one game, it's been really questionable. Again, I think they're playing Nuss hurt, and so that has a lot to do with it. And this A&M defense, where I don't think it's complete, there's some dogs on this A&M defense, so it's not one that you want to be finding your rhythm against, if you will. Yeah. And I also think that A&M's offense is the deepest and fastest offense that LSU has seen yet, with Craven and Concepcion and the two-headed monster at running back, and then also Marcel Reed and his dynamic playmaking ability, passing the ball and running. I think that it's also has to do a lot with balance too, because LSU's defense, and I forget the number of plays per game, but they're on the field a lot. And the amount they're on the field is way above the national average.
Yeah.
It's already exhausted. And if they're on the field for a lot of time this Saturday as well, I think that it can reach that point of fatigue where it collapses and the bottom falls out. And it's not an offense you want to do that against, because there's a lot of explosive capability with Texas A&M. And so I think there's too many things that point in A&M's direction. They're favored by 2.5. I think it should be more. But I think that A&M is going to win and cover 34-21.
So I'm gonna go against you again here. I'm gonna go with Death Valley. I'm gonna go with just Death Valley, and the fact that Brian Kelly's a cockroach. Whenever Brian Kelly needs to get a win to save his ass, Brian Kelly gets the win to save his ass.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
And for that reason, I like the Tigers. I don't like them to do anything else the rest of the year, but like I said, I don't think A&M is going to go through this schedule unscathed. And I think if they do win this game, then there's a good chance that they're heading into Atlanta at 12-0. And so for me, I guess I'm going less off of the numbers because, I mean, you look at it, Mario Craver, Casey Concepcion, like you mentioned, Marcel Reed. I don't think the A&M defense is as good as the numbers point to. I think that they have some holes that can be exploited. But I Nussmeier, I've been saying it all year. I don't think he's 100%. Remember when there's that injury news before the year, and everybody thought it was an ACL. He was fine and whatnot, but that doesn't mean that. I mean, that doesn't mean that there's not something else that's wrong there because he just doesn't look right. LSU's coming off of a loss to Vanderbilt, kind of a kick in the gut, like just a really deflating loss because that's very detrimental to not only their SEC championship hopes, but their playoff hopes. And it's a must-win game for them in Death Valley. What I believe Brian Kelly's 17-1 at night, like he likes to point out all the time, to try and save his job. But I'll say this LSU team is in a good spot for me right now because I just refuse to believe that an LSU team is going to just lay down and let Texas A&M, a team that they've had some good games in the past, some chippy moments in the past. I think that this is close to LSU's Super Bowl, and I think A&M might come in there overlooking them a little bit, which is hard to say. But I like LSU here, and I'm going to go in a lower scoring game. I like them to stop. I like them to stop the run. And like you mentioned, we've seen Whit Weeks throw up on the field 3 times now. So they're gassed. But I like LSU to get the job done 27-21.
Desperation can do crazy things. And that's what makes a game like this kind of hard to pick because.
Right. I'm not 100%. I mean, I'm picking this game, and I think I'm really picking every game this week with my tail tucked between my legs. But I'm required to do so I do it anyways.
I don't think that I have a game picked this week where I'm over 55%.
Yeah.
As far as my confidence goes, I mean, South Florida and Memphis. I'll be honest. I haven't spent as much time watching film of those schools as the other ones. I've strangely watched a lot of South Florida football. I mean, I
do too.
Boise State. I watched them against Florida. I watched them against Miami. Watched them against North Texas.
They play on favorable days to watch them.
I've had the time to watch it. Memphis, I saw Arkansas, I saw UAB, so that's the sample size I have for them. But going off of the numbers here, I like South Florida. I like Alex Golish, but it's like I'm not throwing the house down on it. Vanderbilt and Missouri, but both of those teams are just finicky teams to trust because I mean you're look at somebody with Diego Pavia who had 2 red zone turnovers against Alabama. Bo Prabula can sometimes make some very questionable throws as well. So
I mean, to say the least.
I don't know who's going to win it for what team in that game, who's going to lose it for the other in that one. It's just kind of a coin flip. And then A&M LSU. I feel like it's a new age for A&M, and I feel like the standard is winning a game like this.
Yeah.
But I also I know about battered Aggie syndrome too. I know the past has yielded. The past would indicate that LSU wins this, but I think that we've turned the page into a new chapter. But I could be wrong. It's again not a ton of confidence in this pick.
Yeah, I mean I'm with you there. I feel pretty decent about Missouri. I think Missouri is just a better team, and I think that like last week just showed that's a game that Missouri usually loses. And I just think that there's too much talent on the field for Vanderbilt, and I feel like I've watched enough Vanderbilt to kind of understand how to slow them down, especially with Pavia at quarterback. and I think Missouri fits pretty well against them. LSU and A&M, all the signs point. And same with Memphis, USF. All the signs point to USF and A&M, but I for some reason it's my gut's telling me to go LSU, and my gut's telling me to go. I guess I'm riding with the Tigers this week, which is a weird thing to say.
You can't you can't go against your gut.
I know, and I mean, it's not like either of those teams are completely outmatched by the other. And I Death Valley at night, and it's just like you said, LSU's got their backs up against the wall, and we're going to see what they're made of. If they lose this game, I'll tell you what, the wheels are going to fall off fast. So,
and that's what I think is going to happen. I was on last week and predicted an LSU down spiral, and I'm going to stand on it. I feel it. I can see it happen before it happens with some of these teams, because I already know how against Brian Kelly that fan base is.
Yeah, he doesn't like them, and they don't like him.
No, and at some point, I mean, I've been in football locker rooms before. I mean, at some point, that has to seep into the locker room.
Yeah,
and I think it already has. But if you lose to A&M, it gets emboldened.
Yeah, okay. No. I mean, yeah, and that's the thing. A&M's a team that will expose your flaws if you have them.
This ain't no clown show A&M anymore. Like this is they're different with Mike Elko. This is a powerhouse. This is a disciplined team. This is a detailed team. This is no more Kevin Sumlin or Jimbo Fisher. This is a real deal program to play. And going back to Missouri and Vandy, and I want to end on this here. I think that this is a primary motivation factor for Missouri. How many Instagram posts have you seen of fucking Diego Pavia on On3 and on ESPN and on
Lord.
PBS and on Fox? How many have you seen from the beginning of the summer to now?
Too many.
Now let me ask you this. How many have you seen of Mr. Bo Prabula?
I've seen a lot of them of him missing that throw against Alabama.
And that's not what should be highlighted. Was it a bad moment? Yes. But the fact of the matter is, Bo Prabula was the better quarterback at Penn State last year. Missouri has him. He's the guy Penn State should have kept. We'd be having a different conversation about the Nittany Lions right now if that were the case. Maybe. There's a lot internal there too. But all I'm saying is Missouri never gets any attention unless I'm talking about them. Because I do like to talk about Missouri. I made a video about Missouri last year and it blew up. I have a lot of Missouri subscribers on here, so I appreciate that. I will talk about those Tigers. But a lot of people don't like to acknowledge them. And everybody's on board the feel-good Vanderbilt story. And it's great. And I get it. But I think some people are tired of the bullshit. And I think that the Missouri Tigers are in that camp. And they're not going to make a statement, but I think that they emerge victorious in Nashville for that reason.
I don't like the fact that I picked 3 Tiger teams this week. So,
oh my God, Memphis too.
Yeah.
Oh. Holy shit.
I think this is the first time in my life. I think this is the first time in my life I've ever picked 3 Tiger teams. So, I don't hate Missouri. Not too fond of LSU. Memphis is just Memphis.
Well, we can call you the Tiger King this weekend.
We'll see if the Tiger King prevails because he didn't in real life.
That's a fact. It's time to let the tiger out the cage this weekend.
Yep.
Well, thank you for joining, Luke, and thank everyone for watching. We'll be back here next week.
Go Celtics.
Well, that's right, opening night.
Yep.